Okay, this is like a part 2 to our last episode. Continuing on with your desires, and pardon me, I'm going to be annoying and drink some water now. Clearly, sitting in my car. Loving the sound of the rain. Just got home from Silks. Just recorded our last episode, which is about 15 minutes, so thank you for your patience. Need to take a little sip of water. But this one is all about continuing to follow your desires when it specifically comes to earning more, and with that, allowing yourself to charge more. Because what I find with so many healers is that, not even just healers, but what I find with really everyone, for the most part, most business owners who don't start out in high-ticket sales are very scared of high-ticket sales. They're very scared of creating premium value offers. They're very scared of charging $10K, $20K, $50K, or more for a single offer, especially if that offer isn't one-on-one. They feel like it's this, like, taboo. Like, it's this big, terrible thing, and you're taking advantage of the other person, and how could they possibly be getting enough value out of that? And this is something that I had to really lean into for multiple years. I didn't grow up in a house or a town that accepted luxury in any way, and it was always seen, any kind of luxury was always seen as excess and just being like showy for the sake of it, being flashy, trying to get attention. And it came up in many different ways. There was a lot of friends, not a lot, there was a few different friends that I had who did make, their families made a lot of money, and they were very obvious about it, and my parents made it very clear that that was judgment worthy. We'll just say that. that was something worth judging. And so even coming into business, it took me a long time to raise my rates. Like for the first probably 3 years when I was doing graphic design, I kept my rates insanely low, and the kind of clients that I attracted reflected that, because there was more than once where I would have a client basically ghost on paying me. I would deliver the work, and then they wouldn't pay me. And so I kept raising my rates because I kept hearing people say, well, if you raise your rates, then you'll attract better people with better integrity and blah, blah, blah. And those people are more likely to actually show up and hold their agreements and less likely to just ghost on payments. And so I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And what do you know? The more I raised my rates, the more in integrity, reliable, emotionally intelligent, grounded people became. And when you think about it, this is so obvious, because what do you see when you go to Walmart? What kind of people do you see? What do you see when you go to fast food places? What kind of people do you see there? It's the same thing when you're selling, whether it's online services, information, mentorship, coaching, it's the same thing. There are some spaces that I've been a part of for many years, and I love the person who leads them. And they have huge audiences, and I've made some good, very, very few. I've made a few very good relationships in those spaces with other people who were part of those groups, and a majority of people who are in those spaces, because they're very, very, very low priced. Like, one of them I remember I think is like $20 a month, another one might be like $60 a month, things like that. They're very, very low. The kind of people in those spaces are, they're showing up in these spaces. They're mostly like spiritual spaces. One's for tapping. Yeah, they're all spiritual spaces. But most of the people that show up in those spaces, even though they're putting themselves in rooms that say, hey, I am a spiritual person. I'm wanting to become more self-aware. I'm wanting to have higher emotional intelligence. I'm wanting, to grow myself. I want to expand myself. I want to evolve. I'm wanting to do all these things. And yet, they're also very married to their victim mentality. They absolutely refuse to let it go. And this is a pattern that I have watched happen for years and years and years. I'll still see the same people coming in years and years later, having the same problems that they've been having for years and years. Because something's not activating them to actually change. They're paying enough that they feel like, oh, well, I'm showing up. I'm trying. I'm doing the work. But are they really? Are they actually implementing it in their every single day, day-to-day life? Are they actually taking on that identity? Because if they were, their mindset would be changing. Their outlook on life would be changing. How they show up in the world would be changing. And it's not. And there's, a billion reasons why that could be, right? And what I have found very, very consistently is that charging more brings in far higher quality people. And I'm in those extremely low ticket spaces, but I don't want to be present in them. I go in and listen to the trainings, the audios, the sessions. I never listen to the Q&As with people, but I listen to the information from the facilitator, from the leader of the group. I listen to those things, and I do not engage in that community whatsoever because I do not want to be part of that. So it doesn't mean that you can't attract high-level people into really low-ticket spaces, but if you actually want to create a reliable high income for yourself that's beyond what people see as just normal, you don't want to just make good money, you don't want to just make great money, you want to make astronomical, crazy, insane, holy fuck, I cannot believe that's even possible income. It's going to be very, very, very difficult to do that with low ticket offers. You're going to have a huge audience. You're going to have to, in my opinion, you're going to have to settle for a bit of lower integrity in your client results because you're going to have such high volume in order to hit high numbers. Because that's what I've seen across the board with all of the healers that I see who do really high volume work. And that's a choice. You can do that. It's not a big deal. It's an option. It's available. There is no right or wrong. It's just really getting clear on what your mission is and what your vision is and noticing, okay, am I the person who's here to lightly touch tens of millions of people around the world? And that's it? That's as deep as I go with them? Or am I here to help? Maybe it's 10,000. Maybe it's even less than that. Maybe it's 1,000. And go really fucking deep with them. And then trust that the book that I'm going to write, that maybe all of my free resources that I have online, all of these other things, that's what's going to reach the millions and the tens of millions. But that you actually release the pressure valve on needing to reach millions of people with a higher ticket offer. Again, not because you can't, because you absolutely can. That absolutely is possible. I've seen it be done. But paying attention again to your desire. What is it that you actually want? Do you love working with a fuck ton of people? And working with those people on a surface level? Or do you love working with a smaller group? And small doesn't actually have to mean 5 or 10 people. Small could be a few hundred people. It could be a few thousand people. You could even say 10,000 is a small group. There's 8 billion people on the planet. 10,000 is not that much. It's really not. And so something that I really want you guys to start leaning into is allowing yourself to create higher ticket offers and massaging your own resistance to charging more and trusting that you can actually create a phenomenal experience for the people that you work with in these higher ticket spaces when you do that. So let's talk about a few examples. What might this look like? You could have a very small group. Typically the word for this is like a mastermind. Another word that I like is just like cohort, especially for healing stuff. Like if you're doing nutritional work, if you're doing a small group Reiki experience, if you're doing a small group like couples deep dive immersion, say there's only 10 couples or 10 individuals in any of these programs. Maybe there's 20, maybe there's 50, whatever number feels good for you. But then really looking at like, okay, I think an easy way to look at it, just off the top of your head, is like, if I was going to join this program where I am right now, as the version of myself who I am right now, what would I want to experience? What would help me not feel like I'm overwhelmed with a fuck ton of information that I need to consume? These spaces are usually not places that have a bunch of different modules involved in them, but it's more of a space for personal reflection, personalization, for looking at and recognizing and understanding the nuance of what it is that you teach and what it is that you lead people through, the transformation that you lead people through, and giving these people nuance. Because what I teach in 7-Figure Freedom Method is how you can create something that you can easily impact thousands and tens of thousands of people with, which is group programs, where people are still getting support. And as you continue to grow those spaces, you don't even have to be the only one leading the calls or the sessions or the chat, like however you support people in there. You don't even have to be the only person leading it. You can bring on other facilitators, other co-facilitators to support your students throughout that process. But just really looking at like, what would I want if I was creating this space for myself today? If it helps, you could say like a year ago. But honestly, I think looking at who you are today with your standards, your boundaries, your desires, your current level of leadership and confidence, looking at who you are today and saying, what would I want to be in this space if I was coming into it tomorrow? If I was signing up for it tomorrow? And then really just allowing yourself to create that space. Something you can easily do is include those other group courses and modules and programs in the space more as like a reference point of when you're going into something really deep in one specific area, they then get access to that module, that program as a reference point, because it's like, oh, we just like we touched on this conversation in a specific context to you today, but it'd be really helpful if you actually go and listen to the full module over here. So go ahead and do that in your spare time, and then you're just directly guiding them to what they actually need rather than them going through the whole course themselves. Maybe you would want it to include some kind of in-person thing, whether that's an in-person retreat or an in-person one-on-one VIP day or something like that. And that's often something that people do if it's just like a paid in full. Maybe you want to include a certain number of calls. Maybe they get a bonus one-on-ones, or they get like a small group chat space, or whatever. These places are for a specific kind of person, and I really go into all of this way more in depth inside of signature offers that sell. I'm going to be adding another module in there on high ticket sales very soon, going deeper into all of this, but that's going to be really, signature offers that sell is going to be really helpful for you in getting extremely clear on who it is that you're selling this specific high ticket offer to, because it's not for everyone. You're selling to a different person than you are to your group programs. It's the same person on a different point in their journey is a way that I've loved hearing that explained before. It's the same person, just at a different point in their journey. You're helping the person, like I talked about in the last module, who is very happy to pay more to not have to sit and wait for an answer to their question. You're speaking to the person who values the answers that you have more than the other people who are paying less. Because this is the other thing, is that so many of you will create excuses for other people because you think you know what their financial situation is. You don't. You never know what someone's financial situation is. Even if you literally know, you share a bank account with your husband, you literally know what his financial situation is, you don't know what decisions that person will make regardless of their financial situation. And so many of you are trying to price all of your offers based on what you think people's financial situations are and what you think people can afford and what you think people are willing to pay. And then you're terrified to charge more. And that's where your work is on getting comfortable with higher numbers, knowing that you're solving higher level problems. You're not solving how do I bake brownie recipes problems. You're solving, like, what are the compounds that go into brownies that make them rise and taste so delicious? Maybe that wasn't a good example, but it's what came to mind. You're solving higher level problems for people who give all of the fucks about what it is that you're teaching. Not for people who are kind of interested, who think it sounds cool and think it sounds unique. That's what your lower ticket stuff is for. So I really challenge you, if you do not have an offer that's at least 20K, 30K, 50K minimum, I encourage you to create it, at least on paper, even if you don't start selling it right now. For those of you who feel like you can really get your energy behind it, I do encourage you to start selling it right now. I encourage you to create that offer, start selling it, and just play, experiment. Again, I'm going to be going way more in depth into this in signature offers that sell, but for those of you who don't feel confident in that yet, I want you to really see this as a challenge and a practice every single day. Looking at, okay, here's the offer. If I was to sell a 50K package today, this is what would be included. This is what would be in there. And what I want you to do is start practicing expanding your energy in your body to get comfortable with that. I was telling you this near the beginning, but this is something that actually took me a really long time. It's 2025 now. I want to say 2020, is there 2022 or 2023? I paid for what I would call my first luxury retreat, which was $5,000 for maybe 2 nights and 3 days, if I remember right. And I thought that was absolutely astronomical and insane and crazy and like, what the fuck am I doing? And I did the payment plan over multiple months because I really thought that it was like absolutely fucking insane. But I had desire. I wanted to be in that room. I didn't know what to expect, but I knew it was going to be good. And that was the other thing, is it was all a mystery. I knew the location, I knew the city it was in, and that was literally it. The city and the dates. We didn't get any other information at all. It was just show up, trust it, and we did. And then I ended up investing in that person's 50K offer. And then I ended up doing one-on-one with them, which I think was like 15K, and for just a couple months. And then I ended up going on a retreat with them again the next year, which was included in the like 50K package that I did, but normally they charge like $7,000 to $11,000 for that one. Like, I kept going to a bunch of their different things and investing more and more. Not because they gave me more information, not because they gave me more at all, but because of how I felt when I invested in those spaces, and because of how I felt when I showed up in those spaces, and because of how I noticed that every single time I was in that person's energy and space and around the people that they curated and brought together, my identity shifted and how I saw myself changed. And I knew that that was my ticket to earning more and to reaching more people and to getting clearer and more confident in who I am. So I didn't start out as someone who right away off the bat wanted to invest in premium luxury high ticket offers. But I got to a point where I was sick enough of my own shit from bouncing around to a bunch of low ticket offers and freebies all the time. The first few years of my business, I literally built off of podcasts and freebies. I'm not even joking. I was so broke. I was scrappy. I was willing to do whatever the fuck it took to make it happen. And I did. And it paid off. But it took me a long ass time because I wasn't willing to see my resources differently at that time. And actually that's not true, because my my second mentor that I invested in. The first one I used my college graduation money to invest in. My second mentor, this happened a lot the first few years after college. I think I had like $500 left in my bank account, and I wanted to work with a mentor one-on-one. I had that desire. I got a credit card so that I could actually pay for it, because she required to pay in full before we started working together. And I was like, oh my god, I've never done that before. I think it was $3,500. And so I was like, well, I can take the $500 out of my bank account and then I'll just get a credit card and pay that off and like pay it with that. And then after I start making money from working with this mentor, then I can pay that off and like keep paying my bills and shit. You know, I was single, straight out of college, and I was like, I don't have any responsibilities. I don't give a fuck. Like, I think my rent was like a few $100 a month at that point. I was sharing it with friends who owned a house, and so it was just like, life was pretty fucking easy. And she had a hard deadline of like, okay, this is the date that we're going to start. This is when you need to be paid in full by. And my credit card wasn't actually going to arrive until a little bit later, like probably just a few days later, maybe like 5 days later or something. And so I allowed my own excuses to get in the way, and I ended up not working with that mentor one-on-one. I ended up going into a different group program, and it was okay. It was not actually what I needed. And all of this to say again that, like, had I just invested in that one-on-one mentor at the beginning, I'm like, I know I would have made a lot more money a lot fucking faster, because I would have been more confident and more clear in my offers. I would have been a lot more confident and clear in my pricing. I would have been a lot more confident and clear in my client communication. I was doing freelance graphic design and marketing at that point, and that was exactly what that mentor worked with people on. And it's just been like really fascinating watching how she has absolutely fucking blown up over the last 10 years. And I'm just like, damn, the regret is real. I should have listened to my desire. I should have gotten out of my own way and not allowed excuses and distractions and other people's fears. Because my roommate, one of my roommates at the time, he knew my financial situation. He was very judgmental of it. And he thought what I was doing was stupid. And I thought that I was rebelling against that, and was just continuing to do what I wanted to do by investing in a different group program that was literally like $500 cheaper. That was the only reason I did it, is because it was a tiny bit cheaper. So I was like, in my mind it felt more affordable, but it ended up being a distraction. I hope you guys are enjoying all of these different tangents that I'm going on. The other piece that I wanted to share was just kind of coming back to the higher ticket pricing, is that, you know, like I said, it took me time to build up to not only feeling comfortable spending that amount, but also charging higher amounts. I want to say it was 2022, like right around the same time. Like I started really spending a lot more money around 2020, and that was when our business at that point had already been doing 20K months very consistently for like well over a year, maybe for 2 or 3 years at that point. 2020. I think we'd been doing 20K months for about a year at that point. And yeah, I started investing in different mentorship. And then when we moved to Asheville, I hired a personal trainer, and she was $1,000 a month. And the first month or two that I paid her, that seemed fucking insane. I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then towards the end of it, she let me go. I think because I was kind of like too easy of a client for her. She worked with people who generally had like just different goals and different problems than me. And so I think I was just too easy of a client for her, because I literally just like wanted to have fun working out, and she was a very, very fun person to just be with, and she had her own gym, so I literally got to go work out in her private gym space, and it was very sexy, and just, it was all female, and so it was just like really, really, I loved the experience of it. But when she let me go, I was like, oh man, like I would even pay more to just keep working out somewhere that feels awesome like this. Like, that amount that I had previously been paying that felt astronomical, at that point it felt like tiny, and I felt really sad to not be paying it anymore. I felt really sad to not be paying her anymore, and she eventually ended up moving away, and so it wouldn't have worked anyways. But that same year, I was not only investing $1,000 a month in her, I also took on a business mentor one-on-one who was also $1,000 a month. Again, making both of those payments, it felt crazy. And then after I did it, it just normalized. And then after that one ended, I was paying another mentor. This wasn't even one-on-one, but I was paying $5,000 a month. I'm trying to remember. I'm like, no, that literally didn't include any one-on-one. That was all Mastermind. That felt fucking insane for a long time, and then it became normal. And then started working with a different business mentor, different Mastermind this year, and I want to say it's around like $3,500. It's either $3,500 or $3,900. Like, at this point, it's like I don't actually know the exact amount, because it doesn't seem as absolutely batshit fucking crazy anymore as it used to, because I've normalized it. And that's something that it really is a nervous system capacity expansion thing. It's not something that is just like, oh, I feel confident on day one just spending $10,000 a month on mentorship and team and website and blah, 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 all these different things for my business. It's like I slowly added on more things over time as I built my self-trust, as I built my self-confidence, and as I built my self-trust and relationship with money, to show myself that I could trust myself with spending and receiving. And so if you're not at the point yet where you feel comfortable and confident charging $20K, $30K, $50K plus for an offer, that's your work. Is to start feeling into it. Start getting comfortable with it. Start actually creating offers. They can be completely theoretical right now, that's fine, but really start getting into a point where you're expanding your nervous system capacity for it, so that you can do it. Because we were mapping this out for one of my clients the other day. She wants to go to 100K months by the end of the month, and I'm like, for her, I'm like, that's gonna be easy. Like, of course. Like, she's already showing up in such a powerful way. She's already, just in the last like 6 months that we've been working together, she's massively, massively shifted her self-identity and the way she perceives herself, the way she sees herself, not only in her business, but in her body image, in her relationship, as a mom, in every single way. She's allowing herself to evolve and shift and change, which is what's going to allow those 100K months to come so much easier. And so when we were mapping out how she's going to get there, we have an existing offer that she's been charging $10K for 6 months for, that she knows she wants to double. So that's going to be $20K for 6 months. And then another offer that she wants to create, she originally only wanted to charge $10,000 for it, another 6-month program. But as we talked about it more, she saw the value in it, and she saw how much the people that she's actually speaking to are going to value it. And we at least doubled it, if not more than doubled it. I recommended she charge at least $25,000, if not $30,000 or $40,000 for it. And like I said, it's for the 6 months. That one's for 2 people. She's a love coach, so it's for a couple. So both people in the relationship are actually getting support for 6 months. And her audience is people who really highly value this. They already take amazing care of their health. They're already making great money and really prioritize their career in a healthy way. They're not like workaholics. But they prioritize making good fucking money. They prioritize having a good relationship with their kids. They prioritize their relationship with God. They prioritize all these things that are really important to them. So, of course, when there's an opportunity for them to invest in their relationship and go deeper with it, they're gonna want to. And we'll probably talk about it down the road. We might create an alumni offer for those clients to get to continue to stay in her world and receive her support in a different way that's not $40K for 6 months. And yet, that $40K offer is going to be absolutely fucking life-changing for those people. It's going to absolutely revolutionize their marriage. And those are the kind of people that offer is for. It's not for the people who are deeply struggling in their relationship and they're about to get divorced and this is the last thing and they're hoping that this is going to finally fix their relationship. Like, that's not who it's for. And so this is why I was really highly recommending that you get inside of signature offers that sell earlier, because inside of that and inside sold out launch frequency, we go so deep into who you need to be speaking to when you're selling high ticket offers, because it's a very different person. You're going to speak to them very differently than you do to people who are buying a $10 offer, a $100 a month offer, a $1,000 offer, a $5,000 offer, even a $10,000 offer. It's going to be very, very different. The way that these people value what you have to offer is different. The example I gave to my client the other day is me paying my voice teach, my vocal singing lesson teacher, my singing teacher here in Asheville. I think it's like $35 an hour, something like that. And I have absolutely no aspirations to be on Broadway or be like a world-renowned musician or anything like that. I literally just want to like continue expanding my confidence in my voice. That's pretty much it. And my husband makes a lot of music and he's always asking for help with vocals, and I'm like, well, let me actually like learn some music theory so that I can help you in a way that's supportive and not annoying, because I have no idea what you're trying to tell me to do because we're speaking a different language. So like that's it. It's really just more fun. It's for a hobby. Versus someone who wants to be on, we'll just say Ariana Grande, who wants to be on Wicked when she's trying out for the movie. She's doing auditions for it, and she's doing months and months of vocal prep leading up to it, vocal lessons leading up to it, to make sure that she's in top condition to be able to do that audition. You could say that we're learning the same things. Obviously, it's not going to be the exact same, but we're both learning how to improve our voice. One person values it a whole hell of a lot more than the other. That is the only difference. And I know you already have insane levels of experience at what you do. I already know that you're a fucking badass at what you do. I already know that you create insane results that no one else that you've ever talked to has said that they've been able to create the results that you create with your clients. Like, you're already getting astronomical results with your clients, and when they come to visit you, they're like, holy shit, how did you do that? That was insane. What just happened? I can't believe that was even possible. I didn't think that was possible. So you already have the level of expertise that's required to do this. Now it's just getting your energy and your confidence behind it. So that's your homework.